I'd like to ask you a question about the creative process of like songwriting and creating music, right? Because you were telling me, you know, you saw that behind there. You're like, dude, are you coming to the retreat in Hawaii? And I gave you an honest answer, which is I'd love to.
Which is no.
Yeah, which is no, I won't be.
Yeah.
But for valid reason, just like we kind of summarized here, which is we're moving our family to Costa Rica and it's only a couple weeks later. It's just, I'd love to be there, but it's not going to happen. But what does that look like when you're trying to guide people through that process? Because I'm sure it's related to what we're talking about here, right? It's like you could give them the manual on like, here's how you write a song and this is how you sit down and you're going to be done in 4 hours. I've hacked the process. Or I'm sure there's more to it. Do you want to speak through that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, there's that thought of the way in which you do one thing is the way in which you do anything. And when it comes to songwriting, you know, I'll share right now the structure I've created. I mean, I haven't created the structure I've emulated for songwriting, which is not, it's not my structure. It's just a verse, a chorus, a verse, a chorus, a bridge. A chorus is a general flow. Mm-hmm. What you do in that structure is your DNA infused in a thing. So I'll just talk about songs for a second. Like the way we have it is you choosing your message. Like what is the message or feeling that you want the listener to experience? So this is specifically for like a singer-songwriter type song. It's not like if it's like a techno dance song or something, like you don't need you know, you can have a drop or something, but it's more about the vibe, the movement. This is more like a singer telling a story. And in that regard, we're looking for like, what is that one message? You know, we call the retreat the song of your life. Because it's like, what is that one lesson you've learned that you know better than most people? Like you walk into a room, you're on a bus or something, or somewhere else, you're on a plane. You are probably the person that knows this lesson better than most people in that room. What is that lesson? And because that, you know, that's a nice starting point for a song. Because it's like, it's a theme message. And then we couple that with the story. Like, what is the story you want to tell? Who is the audience? And so we're getting these little pieces and we're peppering them into this structure, which is verse, chorus, verse. You know, when it comes to the verse, it's more so you're like building anticipation. This is my interpretation here. Then you have the chorus, which is, this is like hitting someone over the face with like, this is the thing, you know, but sometimes it's fun for it to be, this is the thing, but it's not what you expect it. I just wrote a song over the weekend. And right now, at least the chorus is like, why won't you take your own advice? Which is just kind of fun because it can be put in so many different areas. And for me, it's a nice little reminder of like how hypocritical I am. And then, but also we're all fucking hypocrites. So that's fun. But yeah, then verse 2, you're kind of in a way developing the story you started. And then, you know, of course, verse 2 is like going deeper on that theme. So it's more of a slide. And then the bridge is kind of, in my perspective, is a little bit of a departure, a refresher. And then you jump back in and it reinforces that final chorus. So that's kind of how I break down a song in writing it. But sometimes, like what we found with this retreat in the Song of Your Life is that, oh man, this is wild, right? This one woman who was in the retreat, she's been working on all these different songs, whatever else. And she was like, I'm good at writing a verse, I'm good at writing a chorus, but I suck at writing the bridge. I can never write a bridge to the song, right? But then when we were going deep into her life, it was like she had this past, but then needed a bridge basically to the future. And it was like she couldn't connect the dots. And it was just kind of fun to see like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And then another dude, he was like, I can never write a chorus. He's like, I can do the verse all day, but I can't. And he was the one who wrote the most memorable chorus. It was just he didn't believe he could. He didn't believe that there was a theme that tied everything together. So those are just two examples, but hopefully this is somewhat answering your question.
It is, man. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm taking feverish notes here because I'm already starting my journey of writing the song of my life. So when you asked that question, how did you phrase it again? What is the one thing?
What is the one lesson you know that most people don't know? And then with music, people remember a melody better than they remember just words. So there's a power to, what do I want? What's the seed I want to plant in someone's mind, even long after I'm dead? Like, what is the legacy message there? Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you said that, I thought to myself, I wonder if he's going to ask me that question. What would my answer be? And then you were talking and I was literally thinking about that. I was listening to you too, because I'm a...
Yeah, you can do both. You're always splitting. But yes, obviously this is the next question, which is, Trevor, what is that lesson? I want to hear it.
Yeah, you prompted me on that and it got me thinking. And it took a few seconds for it to really land, because the first thought that comes to my mind, and I'm sure everybody that's watching this might be able to relate, is like, do I know anything that nobody else knows? And that's just the limited belief, mindset, fear-based childhood trauma stuff that we all get to work through. And it never goes away, but I think I'll just say out loud that I'm able to snap out of that much, much faster now. It still creeps up, but then I'm like, of course I do. Of course I've experienced something that nobody has, because it's my experience. But the answer to me was really revolved around what my message has evolved to since we last worked together, even too, which was, I am a conscious creator. And then the story around that actually didn't really download to me fully until about a month ago, when I interviewed Christine McAllister, who, I'll give you the condensed story, but she showed up on my LinkedIn feed one day, not randomly, on purpose. And she had shared a photo of her exposed pregnant belly with her husband's arms around her and stuff. And she told a story about how she lost her daughter to preterm stillbirth in like 2015 or something like that. And then she explained the whole story of how far along she was and how it like grounded her in her purpose and that type of thing. And I don't know if you know, but Shar and I also lost the daughter around the same time and about the same term as well. And so I just commented on her post and said, hey, you know, it takes a lot of bravery to share this out loud. Really proud of you. I share a similar experience. And it resulted in some conversations back and forth. And then I interviewed her on the podcast a week later, and we titled it Connection Through Loss. And what's transpired since then has been pretty amazing. But the thing that unlocked for me in that interview was that I believe that I had a hand in actually creating that loss. And it was through a series of reflections of realizing what was going on in my life, and then just seeing how that was connected. And then it hit me in that moment. I was like, holy shit, if I have the power to create that, the greatest pain that I would have never actually wished on myself, I also have the ability to create bliss and everything that I could ever possibly desire. So it was a huge moment of, you are the conscious creator of everything in your life, all the pain and all the bliss and everything in between. So which one do you choose? And that's starting to feel like that thing that I have personal experience. I'm not the only one that's ever gone through loss and had that moments of, you know, your pain becoming your purpose. But it was my experience. So of course it is. I am the only one that's experienced it because it was my experience. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch the full unedited episode, go ahead and click over here. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me. Thanks so much.